Hello everybody, welcome to Example of Play, the home for strategy, tactics, and more. If you haven't subscribed already, now's your chance. It is February 2nd, and it's time for another strategy gaming news roundup. And this week, I'm going to lead off with the announcement of a big sequel. This is Endless Legend 2. Now, I'm excited for this one. I'm sure a lot of other people are too, because Endless Legend was a 4X turn-based strategy game that mixed kind of sci-fi and fantasy. And what it really did that set it apart from a lot of other 4X games was that it created a world that was so rich in lore and flavor, and every faction wasn't just a different style slightly in terms of like had a few different units or a couple different bonuses. Every faction in the game was a distinct civilization that had entirely different mechanics from the other factions, had different goals, had different things you were trying to do while sharing this same world. And so it might not have been the first game to do that, but it certainly pushed the trend in that motion of having 4X games with a lot of story and a lot of richness to them. So much so that the Endless Legend spawned a whole bunch of spin-offs of in the endless world of all kinds of different games that use sort of the same universe and some of the same mechanics and the same UI style and everything spun off from the 4X game to give us a bunch of other games. And now we're getting Endless Legend 2, which is going to take all that and make it even better. If we look at some of the screenshots here, it is looking very good. If you played the first game, you know it had a really colorful, very crisp and clean UI. Looks very solid. There's not a whole lot here about the what's going to be different in terms of mechanics, other than you're going to be on this particular world. I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but it's like an ocean paradise world where it's constantly changing due to the tides and the environment changing things. And then probably one thing to definitely be of interest if you are excited about this is to check out, there's an insider program. So if you sign up for this, you might be one of the first to get to play it and give feedback on it. So I'll put a link down in the description to check that out. But this is one I'm looking forward to, just to see what's new, what they're going to do with it, because the first game was one that I don't think I was ever that great at it, because it was so every time you played, every faction you played had different mechanics, and you were almost exploring this world as much as you were trying to win the game. It just has a different vibe to it from Civilization, games like that, where it's more clear where you're going, what you're doing. In Endless Legend, it was kind of more like you were just playing within this world, which was its own experience and was really fun. But I want to look forward to seeing what they're going to do with it in this sequel. All right, so next up, we're going to look at a trio of strategy games of different flavors that are all getting their 1.0 release out of early access throughout the kind of a 2-week period here. And the first one I wanted to look at is Foundation. So this is a medieval city builder. It's obviously got kind of a cartoony, colorful style to it, which is very fun to look at and watch little villagers walking around. The game's been in early access for a while. I've never played it myself. There is a demo. I kind of want to try it out just to see these little villagers running around and everything. But yeah, it hit 1.0, and the 1.0 release brings with it a bunch of features that are mentioned here. So if you have even played it before in early access, it looks like the 1.0 is giving it kind of revamping a lot of systems, expanding a lot of them out, and kind of fully fleshing out the game to what it's supposed to be. So it looks really good. The game has kind of a focus on organic shapes to your cities. So instead of a grid-based system like you get in a lot of city builders, here you're drawing lines. You are shaping it exactly how it needs to be. So just like a real medieval city, I think there's a screenshot in here. So yeah, instead of like a real medieval city, you're going to have a lot of organic shapes to things based on how the lay of the land goes. There's not a city plan. There's not a grid of streets. It's a much more natural feeling. And so I think that's cool. I like that because a lot of times in city builders, it feels kind of arbitrary when you're forced to build on a grid and everything has to snap together perfectly. Here you get these very natural, real looking shapes that remind you of real medieval cities and the designs of a lot of cities in Europe, how they're laid out. So I think that looks cool. There is a demo. I kind of want to try it out for myself just to see it, but it is in 1.0 now. Next up, another game getting its 1.0 release is Eyes of War. Now, this is another one I haven't played before, but I love the idea of it. This is like something that kid me would have definitely said, I want to play this video game, and it's only $15, so I'm pretty tempted to try it out. The thing with Eyes of War is that it lets you play kind of a traditional medieval RTS, like Age of Empires kind of thing. But as you can see, you can jump in and take control of any of your units at any time. And so you're playing an RTS, and at the same time, it can be a third-person action game where you jump down into the field and take control of a unit. Could be just to have fun, just to get in the fight. Could be to try to have a decisive role in the battle. And then it kind of makes me think in interesting ways of if the mechanics of the combat work such that you as the player can play it as like a third-person action game. Then it's certainly got to have a kind of a different speed and pace to it than like a regular Age of Empires. And so it's got to have a little bit more depth to it in terms of just the units fighting each other, which I think is cool. It does have multiplayer, so you can play against your friends and get in there and fight each other on the field and on the strategy layer at the same time. As you can see, it has like battle arenas. You jump down and have like single combats in a gladiator style, or full-scale RTS battles where you're in there either controlling it from above or taking the field as one of the soldiers. And so I think this is a great idea. Love it. And it's like an indie developer, so always like supporting them and giving them a shout out. So here is, Eyes of War getting its 1.0 release if you've been looking for it. It does list out a bunch of features that come with the 1.0 release. So again, kind of fully fleshing out the game, adding in a lot of stuff to improve it and make it better, and a big list of bug fixes, balance changes, and a lot of minor new features being added into the game. So if you've played it before or haven't, go ahead and check it out. All right, so the final game in our trio here is Doorkickers 2. This one has been in early access for like 5 years, and it's finally getting its 1.0 release on February 10th, and this is the one I'm absolutely most excited about. I love the first Doorkickers. The second had been in early access a long time. It's been very playable for a long time, but the 1.0 release is going to bring with it some of the key features I've been looking forward to, and that is adding in campaigns, adding in doctrines for your team that kind of shape how they play and give you more progression mechanics as you go through the game. If you've never played it, Doorkickers is like if you took the planning phase from the old Rainbow Six games, where you could kind of draw on a map how you wanted your squads to move through a level and how you wanted them to like breach rooms and stuff. You could set up a lot of coordination if you wanted to before the mission even started. This is like that fleshed out into an entire game. Where you can draw the plan out and try to see if you can beat the whole mission without interacting, or you can pause it at any time to give new orders. It's got a really great interface for doing that. You can see here like the little lines. They draw the path you want your units to take, but then along that path you can give them orders to turn different ways, to breach through rooms, to coordinate their attacks. And there's just a ton of mechanics to it. It's not just all shooting. You're trying to rescue people a lot of the time. You have some units that are just like regular like army rangers that are going in blasting, but then you've got all these different types of styles where you got some that are like irregular kind of local militia kind of guys. You've got like a CIA team that is all about trying to infiltrate before they start doing stuff. And so it's just a huge upgrade over the first game. It takes that idea and just fleshes it out into so much more. And then the 1.0 release, the big things with it's going to add these campaigns. So there's like dynamically generated campaigns that are kind of just random levels in a given setting. But what makes it cool is that you can play where it's like Iron Man mode, where if your guys die, they're gone for that campaign. If you keep them alive, they get stronger and better, higher skilled. But if they die, they're out. So it gives you incentive to try to keep them alive as long as possible. It adds in more weapons, more stuff to unlock to equip your guys with. And then you can also play these campaigns that are more of like handcrafted experiences, where there are specific missions on like kind of a tree, and you got to choose which guys to send on which path. And so you can't use just the same team over and over. You got to mix it up. And so it kind of forces you to use different tactics, different characters as you go along. And then even more stuff, this battle honor system, which is more things that you can unlock. Adds doctrines, which are kind of different bonuses and abilities for your team. So there's different teams. There's like I was saying, there's like a Army Rangers team, there's a CIA team, there's like a militia team. There's different ones, and then these let you customize each one even further. So it gives you stuff to work towards progression-wise. And then it's going to add, there's new maps. There is a map generator in the game, so there's basically like unlimited missions, but they're going to make that map generator be much better. So every time you play a campaign, the dynamic campaign, you're seeing like maps you've never seen before. And then there's new enemy types, new weapons you're dealing with. There's just so much. And then mods, editing, just endless stuff. And then yeah, Steam Deck support, so you can play it on handheld PCs. It's just, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Excited for it. February 10th, definitely be seeing some videos about this from me, because this game is great. It's been a long time coming, so excited to finally see it hit 1.0. All right, and so, you know, sometimes I like to end these videos with something non-strategy gaming that's just cool news out there in the gaming world. And this one, it's got to be No Man's Sky's Worlds Part 2 update that just dropped. If you followed No Man's Sky at all, you know the game came out and it was really sloppy, and it was kind of a fiasco on launch. But since then, they've never stopped developing it. They've kept making it better and better, and never charged a dime for any of these updates that just finally brought the game to what it's supposed to be. And then they just kept going and keep making it better even years and years after release. And this update is like a huge one. It adds a new lighting system. You see the game looks better than ever. It adds new worlds, new terraforming, like the way it constructs the worlds makes them more interesting, makes them more visually varied. There's new biomes. There's now exploring underneath the ocean, where before I never went in the water too much, but it seemed like the water was just kind of there. But now there's fully fleshed out oceans underneath where you can dive down and explore and go deeper and deeper and find like sea creatures and stuff. There are gas giants. There are new space stuff. There's new types of storms that can rage across planets, like you see here. So the game just looks better than ever. It plays better than ever. I haven't dove into this one yet, but I've got a few friends to play with, and so we like to jump in every once in a while, and the game just looks fantastic. So looking forward to try this out, and also really looking forward to Light No Fire, which is going to be their sequel, will follow up at some point coming out, that's going to add is an entirely different game, but it's going to be more of a like medieval or fantasy world versus the sci-fi one. So it will be really cool to see what they deliver with that game. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe to get all the latest in strategy gaming news, and we'll see you next time. Bye.